Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to Vodreview an underperforming Plat 2 DPS. Let's read the Reddit post first. I started playing Overwatch when Overwatch 2 came out and I have struggled to get to Plat but reached it. Peak Plat 1. Season 3. So last season. Just to fall back down to gold and then climb back to Plat 2 again. Yeah, usually what happens is you cannot keep your peak. Usually if you reach your peak, you will fight against players that are too strong for you. Then you will fall down a little bit. They will climb back up to where you should be. So around Plat 3, Plat 2 should be your level. It's really plus minus 100 SR. It's just your daily performance. Don't stress too much about it. There's not really a difference between Plat 1 and Plat 2. It's roughly the same. I notice my skill deteriorates whenever I get to high Plat and have been on a 4 loss streak, which I know I was performing horribly in. Okay, so one thing that happens is, if you climb higher, you get punished for things that worked before. And you really need to adapt to new ranks, regardless if you climb up or if you fall down. It's a different environment and you need to adapt everything you know. How deep can you go? How greedy can your angles be? How precise does your timing with the tank needs to be? Which 1-on-1s can you win? Like as Symmetra Mei, I can win a 1-on-1s against a Hanzo on Master 4, Master 5, 4, or maybe 3, but I will lose every single 1-on-1 on Master 2 or 1. Like, just this 100-200 step defines if I can spawn kill a Hanzo or not. And how you adapt to it? Well, you try, you get clapped, you learn. And that's important, that you really just keep adapting. So this is just something I have to say. Don't take what you know for granted, but really re-evaluate, retest your limits. Let's find out what you can and what you cannot do. But I can't really make out any reason as to why. Well, that's why you are here, I will tell you. I was never tilted or autopiloting. That is a strange sentence. You should be autopiloting, because that's how your brain works. Your working memory consists of 5 items. The entire Overwatch match doesn't fit into your brain. It doesn't work. Your brain saves Overwatch matches, the current situation, as a pattern and reacts according to the pattern you have learned. And you need to learn patterns, you have to relearn these patterns, you have to readjust these patterns and make more finer patterns and better patterns, and at some point you consolidate patterns, but everything is about learned patterns and not about being mindful about everything. You cannot be mindful about everything, it does not work. You need to autopilot basically the entire game so your brain is free to make a play. So you have a part of the game where you think about, which is risk-reward calculations, or how greedy you need to play, what type of play you need to make. So like things like aim, cover, anchoring to the tank, reading kill feed, having a feeling for when enemies have ult, all this stuff needs to be autopiloted. They need to work without you thinking about it, basically. So I always say, if you take a pro gamer, and that programmer gets out, he gets matched, he gets back home at 4 AM. For some reason he starts to play Overwatch. He will play close to cover and his crosser will be at correct positions. His crosser placement will be good. Why? Because he always plays this way. He cannot play on main. He cannot stand outside of cover. He's never done it. His brain doesn't have patterns to stand outside of cover. So regardless of how brain dead the programmer will be, he will not do these mistakes, because he has trained them so much that he's autopiloting them without training them. I was constantly trying to think of what to do to win the fight, which is good, and what my position was at the moment. Positioning needs to be autopiloted. But I always came out as a bottom fragger player that is comparable to a J3 video called I Put a Bottom 500 Player in a Plat Lobby. Okay, I don't know this video. I just really need any tips how to improve. Sober, okay. I will review your what on Twitch TV, Ingame. Feel free to join and ask questions. I will post the highlight later. And it's done. Rip and tear till it's done. And of course, hello Fabnasty, thank you for joining. You're having a great day. Favorite Hellhound mod. So Zova was a name. We take the first replay code. Always I recommend watch your own replay code and post only one. Really decide which replay to post. Don't just clip dump your VODs. Really decide on which one to watch. It helps yourself. It increases the quality of what you're about to get corrected on. And this is what you want. This is my Tracer account, so don't be alarmed by the win rate. This is my Smurf account, so it's a little bit different than my main account. And I will carry it by King Crazy there, so it's a little bit random. Okay, we start on our Symmetra. Now, the thing you didn't post is what you are actually maining and what your tech picks are, which is a little bit hard to know from that. Der Carry müssen noch du! Danke, Crazy. Aber wir gewinnen immer zusammen. Zusammen sind wir stark. Okay, no teleport out of spawn. Which means we hope you have a plan. So first thing I notice is, where are you going right now? What is your point? You might have seen some guides where they say, oh, the fight should be around this high ground and stuff. And they clearly say no. Your team doesn't have watched the same guides as you. Everyone has different knowledge of what is right and what is wrong. And everyone has different skill levels of things they understand and other things they don't understand. So you might have understand teamfight position much better than your tank, but your tank has understood timing much better than you. So everyone has his own strengths and weaknesses. You need every single game adapt to your teammates, to the map, and to your enemies. Every single game you need to adapt. You cannot just always do the same because it worked last time. There's this famous quote, this is a one-way street, and the grandpa just drives the wrong way and just says, well, yesterday also no one came. It's like that's what you're doing right now. You should be oriented around your tank. You always rank around your tank. Your tank decides when to fight, where to fight in general. And this should be your initial setup, because you see your tank clashed. You could have went in with a teleport. You could have killed the enemy tank right now. The enemy tank could have been dead. You could have right tank diff and teabag him already. But you are not in the position to teabag anything because you're looking at a wall. Because, oh no, I need to set up my turrets on the point. Your turrets are completely irrelevant, my dude. Really observe the games that's evolving in front of your screen and adapt to that. Don't adapt to something that could or should happen in theory. Like in theory, the enemies should walk through here. But will they? You don't know. They could come from here and go to high ground. They could TP across. They could put a Mei wall here. They could TP up here and drop. You don't know all of this. But by doing this pre-play, which kind of works most of the time somewhat, you remove your ability to react. And you want to be proactive, this is true, not reactive. But this doesn't mean that you don't want to be proactive in the sense that you limit your own options. You want to be proactive in the sense that you increase your own options. For example, a proactive play would be to TP to this high ground and then see where are the enemies going and drop accordingly. That would be a fitting proactive play. So right now you use your turrets for something that is not used. The entire team fight can happen here in the front, and your turrets are useless until the team fight is lost already. So you really just didn't follow your tank, basically. Also, you're kinda really not sure what you're currently doing, what the goals of what you're doing or what you're waiting for. It looks like you're a little bit lost right now. What should your goal be in this situation? Well, analyze what are the tools you have. Well, you have no turrets, but you have a TP. You lost your Ryan. So the teamfight will be most likely lost until you do something now. So if you let the enemies reset, you will die over long term. But the enemies are currently using cooldowns. So which means what you could do is TP behind and try to kill something and then TP back out. This is one option, because dying slowly on point is really pointless. So unless you now kill something now, the teamfight is lost. So what we should now is really do something really aggressive. So either go right side and try to zap something just by walking, or really TP behind them in some form of manner. So right now, we're just in the open, just spamming a little bit. But I mean, the Ryan can decide to shield at any point and he is not really endangered, and you're not in the position to endanger anything right now. I mean, the alternative would be, of course, to just left-click the main tank as much as you can, to keep him busy, to keep his supports busy, so your rest of your team can carry. This also works. Like, it's not need to be you who TPs across. Like, if you have an aggressive DPS like Sombra, she can also kill supports. You can just left-click beam the Ryan, just go behind cover and just beam him as much as you can with your left-click. This will keep Ryan and his supports busy because he cannot just overrun you against his damage. But that's kind of like... The teamfight was basically lost because your Ryan died very fast. Like, it's not even that he died, it's really that he lost all his resources without anyone being active in his team. Like, the teamfight was lost... now. You see? The teamfight is lost now. Why? Because Sombra is here, Kiriko with DPS is here, Baptiste is here, and where's your Ryan? Here. This is the moment you lose. So the only option to save your Ryan is to give him a TP, to help him out, to damage whatever he's damaging, and go with your tank and don't let him die. Because if he dies, the fight is over. But you're not in a position to react to anything he's doing. And this is kind of like a mistake that happens if people watch more guides than they play, usually. So you do things that... but we went over it already, so we said enough to this one. Just react to what's happening on the screen and don't react to what you think should happen, but react to what actually is happening. So we watch the next team fight, which should start around here somewhere. Man, where is it? No. I'm sorry, I'm a noob. So, now here you died. My mouse wheel is reversed for some reason. Okay. So irritating a little bit. Okay. So you have switched to Mei. Why did you switch? Was there no way to get value with Symmetra? Well, clearly there was. First, you can block Shatter with your Sim wall. Second, you can block Echoes, whatever she's doing, ult with your wall. You can cut off Zenyatta's healing with your wall. Like, your ult will get value. Like, your turrets can also get easy value to zap the Echo when she flies around, to kind of block Kiriko flanks, to block Reaper teleports, right? Your TP can be used to just TP bomb kill the Zenyatta. So you can just pressure the main tank. Like, Zim should have had a lot of value. There was no reason to switch to Mei, but you threw away ult charge. And now what can you do more that you couldn't do? Yeah, well, you still just pressure the tank. You could have pressured the tank with Symmetra. Like, yeah, like the wall might be a little bit easier, but really not a good reason to throw away ult charge. Okay, what are we doing? Our goal is, well, wall of something and then push that something to increase the pressure on the enemies and snowball from there, right? So this time you go with your team. Your Sombra now sadly went in ahead and fought it out. This happens to me a lot because I'm a Sombra main, so I do this mistake also. Now Doomfist goes in. What are we doing? Nothing. Literally nothing. Second time you let your tank die without contributing anything to the fight. Again, your tank decides when to fight, where to fight. Even if he is totally wrong about what he's doing, you still follow him to the death. You follow your tank. So what you should have done here is put a wall here in front of your Doomfist right now. Why? Because he's about to die. And you cut off Ryan and Zenyatta and a little bit the Kiriko, and your team can deal with Hugh Hamster. He will use his cooldown and you will get something out of it. But at least... Like, in the sense, you want to wall off the tank, but this is, first is too late, and second is, you don't need to wall off the tank, you wall off the front line, which is Reaper. So this wall would have made sense if your Doomfist is still alive. You don't want to wall Doomfist in, not out. But you would, in this case, you really want to wall off the Reaper because he's just front and alone. Just wall off the Reaper. Force his cooldown out, so he is less useful in the upcoming fight. Now again, the fight is lost. You also use ice blocks at some point, I don't know why and when. Just want to get out. Good wall. Get out. Perfect. This is good. But we're still kind of peeking a little bit wide. Your goal is really just to survive here. Let's be clear. Like, there was risk of dying because you kind of just still peeked a little bit aggressive in between. Let the enemies run behind you because you just want to survive until your tank is there. Your tank is here. Okay. Perfect. Now you want a wall. You don't have it right now because you need to use it earlier because you ran away. Okay. Now... stuff is going on, but now we want to wall. We didn't wall. Okay. Still worked out. Like, this is fine. Like, don't get me wrong, this is fine. Like, don't expect this wall of a Plat player. I would have expected it from a Masters player. Wall.
Climbing that.
The entire team is inside here. If you wall this off, they lose their freeze for no reason. Like you saved yourself, right? But you could have saved also more from your own team. Why? Because you wall the door. Okay, nice. Easy wall. Perfect. Like you could have blocked the shatter with wall, but it shouldn't be required. You should build this anyway. And of course, I don't know if you actually can track ults already. Like it is a nifty skill to have at some point, but it's not required at Plat. So it's kind of okay. Okay, this ice block seems a little bit unnecessary. Again, react to what's going on. Do you have 200 HP? 160, 250. Do you need to ice block with 119 HP inside the lamp? Not really. You don't need to ice block.
Oh, yeah.
Now, ice block would be really great, wouldn't it? But again, while Reaper's floating around, you can also just wall off the Rhine again. So Reaper floats around a little bit longer alone, and the enemy team cannot push too far in. So one missed opportunity for wall as well. But the good thing is we did use our ult, which is good. Now we have our ult.
And now I'm ready to initiate self-destruct sequence.
Good. So this I would already ult. Why? Because well, you have a Diva Bomb and you have a Baptiste ult coming ahead. So if you use ult now, you have a window next fight. And you guarantee a win in this fight right now. Like if you can ult track, you know, okay, the enemies do not have ult, you have defense advantage, so you can wait. But in your case, I would ult now, but later refine the skill if you climb higher. So in theory, it would be wrong to ult here, but on Plat 2, I would still ult this one now, because you can guarantee a win fight. Team fight win by just ulting the Echo and whatever is inside. It's an Kiriko. Well, actually they can get out, so you can ult just here in front. So to get the Zen, the tank, the whatever is inside. And that way, even if they are not frozen, they stay isolated, you will get the kill anyway. Okay, take it, good enough. Oh, please remove the wall before Diva Bomb explodes. Really, please remove this wall. Don't block your teammates' ult. Even if it would be correct and stuff, they are really demotivated if you do stuff like this. And you can just remove it by pressing E again right before it explodes. Okay, good enough. So now all of this doesn't seem to matter much. Is this all you do correctly? So defending you kinda are more straightforward because you know when and where to place walls. Enemies need to walk into you, so you have an easy time to understand where to place and when to place walls and when to use your shift. So your defense seems a lot better on Mei than it was on attack. This was fine, more or less. Actually, why did you actually die? It's a little bit confusing. Let's watch this again. So you had ice block and don't have any supports with you. So one is dead and the other is Kiriko. Actually, you have a support with you. Actually, her healing is so slow, yeah. So you could have ice blocked, of course, but you know this already. So not worth reviewing. But the wall is still okay. So you just trade. You do not just waste your life. Now enemies use ults to win this. It's fine.
Let them out.
Coming at you.
Just a short note, there's a Mega Health Pack out here. So this is where I would camp if you wait, just on the Mega Health Pack, so you can actually just heal and then re-go in. Left click! Perfect. Well done. Okay. Okay. Here you should have trusted your team to touch. It's a little bit difficult to see, but really try to get your team to touch in this case, so you have your block, and you can delay your block a little bit. But it was mostly fine, so it doesn't matter too much.
We can do this.
I'm ready to initiate self-destruct sequence.
Activating self-destruct sequence.
Okay, you got the first round. Well done. You clapped Okay. Now here we have an attack situation again. So let's see what happens here. So Mei is now a lot trickier to play on this map, honestly. Because most likely what happens is that the enemies go to high ground, then your wall is useless. That's totally sad. Walling of Reaper is fine. Shooting there is fine. Should have healed up fully here. Why? Because the enemies are not pushing up inside hardcore, so you don't need to fast cancel your ice block. You can just heal up a little bit more. But not required, because your team can heal you. Now here's a little bit of a problem, because now it's a perfect opportunity to wall off the Rhine. But you're not in position because you're not playing with your Rhine, you're defending an off angle. But the problem is, against enemy teams, the off angle is not here, but the off angle is up here. That is a problem now, because Reaper can port up, Echo can go up, Baptiste can go up, Kiriko can wall climb up, and they should all go up. Like, there's no reason for them to be on low ground, so you're not really defending anything if you stay here. You're just isolating yourself, basically. It's this specific map with specifically Mei. Because of this high ground team, this high ground type of map. So I don't expect great walls here. It kinda still works out, but they both can just jump around it. And honestly, you should have just walled in the Rhine. Like, if you walked with your Rhine, you put a wall here, you pressure the enemy Rhine, and even you do not kill him, but you pressure him, so he has less shields and so on, and then your team can overrun him after it. Instead, your Rhine died because Reaper did more pressure than you on the tank, basically. On the front line again. Now this is again lost because your main tank died. And you did not play with your main tank. So this is a little bit closer, but still basically the same as the first fight. Like, you just did not play with your main tank.
Lifesaver.
So, why would a Cassidy play on the off angle or not with this Rhine here? Like, let's draw this situation again, right? Let's shortly discuss this. So we got your Rhine here, you see it, right? Your Rhine here, and your entire enemy kind of having this, roughly this area for your own team, including the high ground. There is just a Sombra, so let's pretend you also have the high ground. Okay? The enemy tank is right here, and the enemies have this area, right? So basically, technically, you already have a positional advantage because you have the high ground. And your Sombra can just easily hack the Rhine from top while being in cover to everything else, which is already basically a free teamfight win. Or could be. Now, why would a Cassidy... If you would be a Cassidy, why would I tell you to off angle? Or an Ashe, or a Soldier, or a Sojourn? Well, because your advantage over a Reaper is damage over range, and range gives you the option to decide what you're shooting. So the Reaper, standing here, if the Reaper would go this off angle, he doesn't have the choice to shoot your supports, right? The Reaper would need to go all around here, which is inside your entire team, so he will get clapped anyway. But as Cassidy or Soldier or any ranged character, you can actually go to the side and pressure over range, because the alternative would be to just shoot the shield, and Reaper and Mei are better at shooting shield or Symmetra or whatever. Okay, so with Mei Symmetra, you have the advantage if you pressure close range and you wall off the enemy tank. And so that should be your win condition, that you wall off the front line over and over and over again. So whatever timings the enemies have and use cooldowns and abilities, you put up walls, So every time the Rhine wants to do something, there's a random wall appearing behind him, and he kind of doesn't, like his internal timing when to swing, when to shield, when to go to cover, when to push forward is kind of disturbed. Every time you put up a wall, the entire enemy team gets disturbed by your walls. But by putting up your wall here, the tank is not disturbed at all. He can still play his own timing. And the tank timing is really not so fragile that it gets interrupted by a 2 or 3 second wall. So if the enemies are interrupted by 2 or 3 seconds from this wall, because they can like, climb over and stuff, he will not get interrupted too much. But if you instead interrupt the front line, you will get much more value here. And this will be your Mei and even Zim playstyle. So even a Zim, what I would recommend you as Zim on Plat 2 is you go also up here to the front, and you just beam the enemy Reinhardt's shield, right? together with your own Reinhardt. You just push the Rein, so, which means the enemies will use cooldowns to support their own Rein and to overcome your Rein. But what you do is, as soon as the cooldowns go down, you just put your turrets up maybe here, and then you just TP bomb across. So you TP together with your bombs, you pressure the backline, and then you port back out to your tank. And what does it do? It interrupts the enemy timing, because now you decide when the enemy supports are required to deal with you instead of helping the Rein. So the Rein has armor, right? Now the armor's the Rein's shield and armor are gone because you shot at it. And now then supports need to start healing. So if you imagine the enemy Rein's HP bar, right? It has life and it has an armor part. Oh, the color change didn't work, sorry. It has an armor part, and additionally he has a shield part in front of him. Everything with its own HP. So what will Rein do? Well, he will alternate the HP and the shield part, and when it's gone, then he goes a little bit more passive, lets his team heal him up, so he stays in the armor part, and when the resources are back up, he goes back in again. But what you do is you cancel his shield mostly, you cancel his armor mostly, but then instead of letting him heal up, you port to the backline and you disrupt the healing up part. And you can do the same with Mei. You shoot the Rein until his shield is crumbling and he wants to get healer support, and then you Mei wall, and then the Mei wall has a lot of big difference. With Mei wouldn't be required here because you can also just switch it around, but this is what I would do, recommend you with Symmetra. So with both heroes, I would really recommend you to play with your tank at this level, and Symmetra TP bomb occasionally to the backline when it's a good timing, when they really need to heal. That would be my recommendation for you. I hope that helps. I hope this wasn't too high of a concept, because only it requires a little bit of training, so I don't expect you to just know it and then just instantly be able to do it. This is something you really have to train to see where your tank is going, anchor around your tank, and pressure the enemy tank, and consider the timing. This is something you really need to train. It's not so trivial as like it's easy to say, but it's actually hard to follow, so I still hope my Vodreview helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section on Reddit or on stream. You can just visit my stream and ask there. I can demonstrate it if you want it. Yeah, with that said, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.